Yanni. Hey guys, and welcome back to Gabbing with Jessa. Today I'm doing another tag video. I am going to be doing the coffee book tag. I was tagged by Steffi at Coffee Over Apples, so you can check out her channel that I'll have linked down below. It's funny that I was tagged in this because I don't like coffee at all. I have been trying to like coffee. I've had friends who try to get me into coffee, but I don't know, it's just something with the taste and even with the different, I don't know, flavors and things like that. I don't know, I've just never gotten into it. So I will still be doing this tag even though I do not like coffee. I just think it's kind of funny that I was tagged to do it. Not that like Steffi knew that or anything. I don't know, I just think it's funny. So yeah, I'm just gonna dive right in with the first prompt, which is Black Coffee. A book that is hard to get into, but definitely has diehard fans. And for this, I'm going to put the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I haven't read anything from the Lord of the Rings. I read The Hobbit in 8th grade because we had to, because that was the book that we had to read for class, one of the books that we had to read. And I liked The Hobbit. I mean, we saw the cartoon animated version of it, but I just haven't really gotten around to reading the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I want to, and I know that there are a ton of fans for it. There are people who love the Lord of the Rings so much, whether that be the book or the movie. Either way, there are diehard fans for Lord of the Rings. And I wouldn't say it's hard to get into. I just haven't really gotten into it yet. I haven't really been inspired to get into it yet. But who knows? Maybe that will change sometime soon. I don't know. Next, we have Peppermint Mocha, a popular book during the holiday season. And I'm gonna bring it back years and years ago to when I was little, and I'm going to do All of the Other Reindeer. This book was my favorite growing up. I loved reading this book. Of course, it's mostly for Christmas time, but I read this all the time. Olive is a dog, and she hears over the radio that Santa needs all of the other reindeer in his classic song that I'm forgetting right now because it's not Christmas time and I'm not hearing it on the radio. But she thinks that she's saying Olive the other reindeer, not all of the other reindeer. And so she's like, ooh, I need to go and help Santa. Santa needs my help. I'm a reindeer. I thought I was a dog, but I am a reindeer. And it's just so much fun. And I think they did make this into a movie or a TV special. And I don't know, it's my favorite. And it's popular during the holidays because it is reindeer, Christmas, Santa themed. The third prompt is Hot Chocolate, a childhood favorite book. And I'm gonna give this to Every Soul a Star by Wendy Mass. Wendy Mass was one of those authors, I believe, that came to my middle school at some point when I was in middle school. And I've read a ton of Wendy Mass when I was in middle school. I loved her books, especially this one. This one was my favorite. She was visiting us for when she published Jeremy Fink in The Meaning of Life, I believe. Unfortunately, this one is not signed. I don't know if I even have one signed by her, but I was assigned to like help her out or direct her around the school, show her around. So that was a lot of fun because I was in a competitive reading club in middle school. Yes, that was a thing, and I was a part of it for all 4 years that I was in middle school because my middle school was 5th through 8th grade. This story follows 3 characters. It is 3 perspectives of when they are going to this camp because there is going to be an eclipse going on and just their different life stories. I thought it was so sweet and it was so much fun, and I still kept this book obviously because it means so much to me. I'm gonna have to reread this sometime soon because I haven't read this in a while, and like I used to read this all the time. Next we have Double Shot of Espresso, a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. And now I know that I've talked about One of Us is Lying for the longest time, and it would probably go here, but I've talked about that so much. So I'm gonna put the Hunger Games trilogy, specifically the first Hunger Games book. I had to read this before going into my sophomore year, which is a video I will get into a little bit later on down the road, but I had to read this for school essentially, and it was amazing. I loved this book, and my brother also had to read it too, and he's not really big of a reader, but I remember us during this time, he was like, man, this is good. We read the second book, I read the third book, I don't think he did, but either way, we were just blown away by it, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was happening next. Obviously, this is something that isn't common. No one's going around, our governments aren't really doing, a child killing match or anything like that. So it was my first dive into dystopian as well. And dystopian has actually become one of my favorite genres, one of my favorite things to read about. And I know that it's kind of overplayed. I know that it's not really popular as much anymore, and I still haven't discovered all of the dystopian that I would like to, but it's still fascinating to me. I love the idea of a world that is like ours, but there's something that had to change about it. And I just loved Katniss too. I thought that she didn't really want to win the Hunger Games just for the fame and the glory of it. She just wanted to help her sister. She volunteered for her sister, which is something I would like to think I would do for my little sister. But yeah, I loved this trilogy, and I thought that it was amazing. I had nothing wrong with it until like the third book, but I think that's pretty typical for this trilogy, but I haven't read it in a while, so I'm gonna try to revisit it again sometime. Next, we have Starbucks, book that you see everywhere. And for this, I'm going to give it to Daisy Jones and the Six by Tyler Jenkins Reid. I'm about to start this book, so I'm really excited for it, but I see this everywhere. The only reason I'm reading it now is because that I've seen it everywhere. And so it had to go on this list. It had to go here. I've seen it everywhere. I started really watching BookTube within the last year or so, and everyone talked about this book. Everyone. After that, we have Hipster Coffee Shop, shout out an indie author. And for this, I'm going to shout out Taylor Kane. Now, this is her book, Rare Like Us. It is the only book she has put out. This is her memoir story about losing her father to a rare genetic disease, realizing she has that rare genetic disease as well, and what that means for her future and what she has done in honor of her father. This was a really great book. It is written in more of like an essay format that you would give for school, but for her age and how young she is, like, it makes sense. She's done so much with her life, and she's only 22 years old. She turned 22 this past year, and I know that so much about her because she is also my cousin. I'm gonna have this linked down below, so that way, if you want to check it out, you can purchase it off Amazon and just support an indie author that I love personally. And then we have, oops, got decaf, a book that you were expecting more from. And I'm gonna give this to Better Single Than Sorry by Jen Sheft. Jen was one of the former bachelorettes, which is why I wanted to read this book. I'm on a quest to read all of the books written by former bachelor, bachelorette contestants, or whether they were the Bachelor or Bachelorette. I'm on a quest to read them all because I love that silly show. And this one was kind of like a how-to guide on, you know, loving yourself, being yourself, things like that. And I think because of the time period where it was written, it seemed very stereotypical of men's roles and women's roles. For example, she's like, oh, the good thing about being single is that you're not gonna have the football game on every Sunday or something like that. Like, you'll be able to watch what you want. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but why not just put like watch what you want when you want, not specifically have it towards football? Because I know that I've grown up watching football on Sundays and Saturdays and Mondays and all the days of the week. And sometimes I want to watch football, sometimes I don't. It really just depends. But I think because there was some things like that along those lines that stuck out to me, it wasn't the book I was looking for at the time. I thought it was going to be really big inspiration. I actually finished it off on a way to a Pete Buttigieg rally on the train in Philly, and I just remember being so disappointed by it, and I gave it 2 stars. It's definitely lower than that because I don't want to, you know, give a 1-star review to a book where, you know, it's still kind of about her life and her experience too. Well, at least I didn't at the time. I've changed my mind about that. So maybe I'll get more 1-star books coming up. But anyway, I just expected more from it, and I was just kind of disappointed about the very, like, this is what men like and this is like what women like. And finally, the last prompt is The Perfect Blend. It was bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. And this I'm going to give to Dating You, Hating You by Christina Lauren. This book was just a roller coaster of different things. I wasn't sure if I was liking it. I wasn't sure if I was not liking it. I did give it 3 stars in the end. Definitely more of a 3.5 than a 3-star review, but it's still not enough to give it that 4, just because it just seemed like there were a lot of events that were going on that I was kind of confused by, that I didn't really understand, especially something that happened at like the end, which I'm glad that it happened, but the way that it went about it, I don't know. I was just very confused during certain parts of this book, and I think that's the bitter taste for me, because I'm like, why is this happening? What is the point of this? Why do we keep doing this? And I don't know, some scenes were just confusing to me, but other than that, I still enjoyed it. It was still a really good book. It was my first Christina Lauren book, so maybe I just wasn't experienced with the writing duo that much, But either way, I did like it. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't. It was just confusing at some points for me personally. All right, so that is the coffee book tag. I'm going to tag you. Anyone who is watching this and wants to participate, please let me know. If you do so, let me know down in the comments. Leave your videos down below so I can check them out as well. I just love to see everyone doing these videos. I don't want to specifically tag anyone in this one. I just want everyone to do it because it's nice and simple and easy, and you know, just have a lot of fun with it. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you think down in the comments below, but also don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, keep on gabbing.